this is why we have to have all of the attributes of what we're planning at the White House. It's actually a larger room, and it's much more secure. It's drone-proof, it's bulletproof glass.
The answer is the ballroom. You have to give me the ballroom.
I was like losing it a little bit. Like I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm like anxious. I'm like, is everyone okay? We know a lot of people in those rooms. Like, what's the president going to say? Come on, turn it on. He's like at first doing a little bit of like, oh, I'm like, okay, this is good. He's assuaging concerns. They're having security people talk. And then like, boom, straight into the ballroom. And like, it seemed to be very quickly coordinated. We were asked Republican strategist Liam Donovan last week about, whether there was some sort of messaging thread where they're coordinating, perhaps inauthentically coordinated messages on certain things from time to time. And it sure seemed like the entire right wing was very quickly on board with like...
They were on it fast. Midas touch with a rack and stack. All these conservative creators who were just like, boom, we're going for it. And this is one of those things. Like, I actually don't think... Like,
we're pro-ballroom, guys. We're like the rare pro-ballroom Dems.
I know. Here's the thing. I say this. I am a member of the pro-ballroom caucus. I think that the White House needs to have a function space that is not the state dining room or the East Room. I think you need a big space. It can't be intense. The tents are terrible. But I don't want Democrats to pay for it. I want Donald Trump to pay for it and waste all his stupid capital on a ballroom that we can like strip the gold off and then, have a great time whenever, we're President Jennifer Welsh walks into office on day one. We can have a swinging party,
The thing that felt so insane to me, though, is like there's been an ongoing fight over the ballroom for a year now or whatever it's been. And like, has the conversation ever been about security? Like, it's not like there has been this standoff where Trump has been like the military and the Secret Service and, our entire national security apparatus agrees that we need this ballroom to protect, our leaders. And, Democrats were like, no, we refuse to fund your very necessary security system. He was like, I want a big fancy ballroom, give it to me. And then like all of a sudden when this happened, I was like, wait, what? Was that that's not what we've been fighting about. This was never about security.
Yeah, no, it's Donald Trump wants a ballroom and he found an excuse. Libs, of course, on the internet saying it was a false flag, saying this was all protection to get the ballroom done. That's not the case, but they are jumping on an opportunity. I mean, that's pretty clearly. I mean, I don't subscribe to the idea that every conservative creator is bought and paid for, but it does seem very clear that, someone at the White House was like, push the ballroom. This is the moment. This is the opportunity.
I love how it's kind of like the inverse of the DNC thing we were talking about the other week, where they're simultaneously like the worst ever, but also responsible for all evil in the world. I like how the libs of Twitter think that Donald Trump is like dementia Don, doesn't even know where he is anymore, and his band of idiots that can't even like turn the lights on. But also they plotted the most incredible false flag, assassination attempts like multiple times, and like everyone was in on it, and like what are we talking about? What are we doing?
100%. We are not the only members of the Democratic Ballroom Caucus, though. Senator John Fetterman, we were there front and center. The venue wasn't built to accommodate an event with the line of succession for the U.S. government. After witnessing last night, drop the TDS and build the White House ballroom exactly for events like these. John Fetterman, brother, he is one skip away from a Newsmax show,
I think it's very clear that he is either going to have to not run for re-election in 2028 or he's going to run as a Republican. I guess he could run as an independent, but like I've said this a million times, but I think it will be like the funniest thing ever if Democrats, pull off the seemingly implausible and flip the Senate by one seat just to have John Fetterman be like, LOL, I'm obviously a Republican now.
I call those Larry David scenarios, where you win and then there's just like a... The other one in my mind was the final projection before the Harris campaign was over. Like the last projection we got before election night showed us losing Pennsylvania by a margin that was smaller than the staff of the campaign. So,
oh my God.
So the final projected margin for the campaign was us losing based on the decision to have the campaign in Wilmington, Delaware.
That would have been so incredible.
So that was really the Larry David outcome. This is a great tweet from Reverend Ryderson on Twitter. This picture of Fetterman. No fucking ZD now? It's pretty good. I'm with you. I think Fetterman is going to switch parties at some point. I think it feels inevitable. And it will certainly happen if we are in a situation where he's the nominee, where we win the Senate.
It's just like his approval with among Dems is at like 15%. So it's like, it's literally completely non-viable for him to, it's like Kirsten Sinema times 1,000, where it's just like, what's he going to do? Run in a primary against like a real Democrat and lose by 80 points, And so, got to look at incentives here. He's either going to run for president or retire or, be a Republican.
Yep, exactly. I found this entire thing to be very dispiriting. I am disheartened by it for two reasons. The first reason is that it happened. Right, that there was an assassination attempt and at this event and could have been quite bad. I'm also disheartened by how routine it feels and how it almost feels inevitable, right? It almost feels like there is going to be a terrible event that happens, whether it is against a conservative or it is against a progressive. It feels like the Charlie Kirk of it all, which was horrifying in and of its own right. And, and this and with Trump, with what's happened with Melissa Hortman, to me, the routineness of this and the fact that we're all kind of moving on is shocking to me.